Burnet police say that officer-involved shootings are extremely uncommon in the city. We're told the last time something like this happened was more than 20 years ago. Burnet police are still here on scene investigating, and the police chief tells us that one officer responded to the 300 block of South McNeil Street in the city of Burnet because they got a call complaining of loud music. This happened at 1:35 in the morning. One officer got here 5 minutes later and approached a red car that was backing out. The officer gave the driver several commands to stop, but the car started coming towards him and drove over the officer's left foot. That's when the officer started shooting. EMS was called out, but the driver was pronounced dead on scene. A female passenger was in the car but hasn't been arrested. Chief Nelson says a few people were inside the home sleeping. Right now, he doesn't know why the suspect didn't stop his car.
At this time, we do not have those answers. Like I said, the officer continued to tell them to stop and started to retreat before he was struck by the vehicle. And once he was struck by the vehicle is when he discharged his weapon.
Like you heard, the officer was injured. He was taken to the hospital but has since been released. He's been with Burnet Police for 3 years and has been placed on administrative leave. The Texas Rangers are the lead investigators in this case, but guys, you can still see it's an active scene with several streets surrounding the home blocked off right now with this yellow police tape. But we had a news conference with the police chief roughly about 30 minutes ago, and he tells us kind of exactly what happened. He said that the officer responded to the scene here on McNeil Street and East Leak Street just around 1:40 this morning. That happened after they received a loud noise complaint. According to the police chief, the officer approached a red car within seconds of arriving here at the scene. The vehicle backed up towards the officer and did not stop even after the officer issued several verbal commands. The car ran over the officer's foot, and at this point the officer started firing his weapon, hitting the driver. EMS was called out and tried to help the suspect, but the suspect was pronounced dead at the scene. We know the officer involved has been with the department for 3 years and has been placed on administrative leave until further notice. The police chief says there was a female passenger in the car and was not arrested and was not injured. The chief says he is still gathering information, does not plan on releasing the officer's name involved, and is waiting to identify the suspect's family before he releases his name. As I once said, the Texas Rangers are investigating this case. Back to you. Hey guys, yeah, still an active scene here. You can see a good portion of this area surrounding the home where that shooting took place is still blocked off. But the police chief for Burnet Police gave us a press conference about an hour ago. He says an officer-involved shooting in the city of Burnet is very uncommon. He says this hasn't happened in probably the last 22 years. But we do know around 1:35 this morning, a call came out complaining of loud music in the 300 block of South McNeil Street. Within minutes, an officer arrived on scene and approached a red vehicle that started backing up. Officers gave that driver several commands to stop, and when that car started going towards the officer, it ran over his left foot, and that's when the officer started shooting. The man was pronounced dead on scene. We also know there was a female passenger inside of that same car. She has not been arrested, and police say she was not injured in the shooting. Several people were inside the home at the time sleeping. We're still trying to find out why the suspect did not stop when the officer gave it several commands. The officer was taken to the hospital. No broken bones. He's expected to be okay. He has been released from the hospital. The Texas Rangers are investigating this incident.
Right now we're trying to view the body camera that was on the officer to see step by step what was going on. But that's what the Rangers will be doing during the investigation.
The police chief tells us the officer involved has been with Burnet Police for 3 years. His name will not be released at this time. As for the suspect, the police chief says once the family is notified, then he will release that person's name. Back to you guys in the studio.